Our top focus tonight, after several years of negotiations, the announcement finally came today. India and Japan signed a landmark nuclear energy deal during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ongoing Japan visit. The agreement is historic since progress on negotiations was halted earlier because of political resistance in Japan after the 2011 disaster at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. Japan is also sensitive to any nuclear deal since it is the only country to have suffered nuclear attacks. The agreement will allow Japan to supply nuclear reactors, fuel and technology to India, and Japan will be supplying that to a non-NPT signatory for the first time.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Japan for the annual summit with his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe, the air was heavy with expectations. All eyes were on whether the long-pending and much-awaited Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement would be signed during the Prime Minister's visit. After the summit-level and delegation-level talks between the two sides, the suspense was broken with the announcement of the landmark deal. The two sides had sealed a broad agreement during Abe's visit to India last December, but the final deal was yet to be signed, as certain technical and legal issues were to be thrashed out. Those issues were resolved, and the ground was laid for a civil nuclear agreement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed the civil nuclear agreement as a historic step in India-Japan bilateral engagement and thanked Japan's parliament and people for it.
Signing of the agreement for cooperation in peaceful use of nuclear energy marks a historic step in our engagement to build a clean energy partnership.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe also expressed satisfaction at the signing of the landmark agreement for cooperation and peaceful uses of nuclear energy. India has completed agreements for civil nuclear cooperation with 12 countries so far, including the US, Russia, Australia, Canada and South Korea. But the agreement with Japan is being seen as a landmark one because Japan is the only country to have suffered nuclear attacks, and its decision to sign a nuclear deal with India, a non-NPT signatory, is a first. India's nuclear energy market stands to gain substantially by the deal because the agreement will allow Japan to supply nuclear reactors, fuel and technology to India. Even the US civil nuclear deal that is yet to be actualized was contingent on the deal with Japan. Given that the current discussions for 6 reactors in Andhra Pradesh are taking place with Westinghouse, which is owned by the Japanese company Toshiba. This deal will make it easier for US-based companies like Westinghouse and GE to set up atomic plants in India, as both have Japanese investments. The civil nuclear agreement with Japan is especially important for the message of trust it would convey to nuclear suppliers group members in a year India hopes to have its admission accepted. It will also help India reach its target of nuclear power generation capacity of 14,580 megawatt electrical by 2020-21, up from 4,780 megawatt currently. In December 2015, Japan was seeking assurances from India that it won't divert nuclear technology provided by it for non-civilian purposes. Eventually, Japan was convinced of India's intent, and the now signed civil nuclear agreement promises to build a strong clean energy partnership between India and Japan, highlighting the strategic trust that both countries repose in each other. With Arun Sharma, Newsnight Desk, DD News.
Besides